Welcome in, everyone. It is Christmas morning for NFL fans. How excited are you that football is finally back? We have returned to the sport that we love. We got a well-deserved break over the summer, but football is back. I'm super excited. It is Christmas morning for NFL fans. It was hard sleeping last night thinking about the games that were going to be going on today. I understand we did get some football earlier on this week. And interestingly enough, we got the same result of the Super Bowl. Oh, that's odd how that turned out, huh? The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys. Philly wins. And then on Friday night, the Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Chargers. The Chargers played just a much better game. They kind of played their game. Kansas City still tries to get by on Mahomes' magic. They just don't have enough playmakers. That's what that team comes down to right now. Worthy now has a shoulder injury, so it's going to be Kelsey and Hollywood Brown. And if you guys like Isaiah Pacheco, great for you. I don't. I think he works very hard. But at the end of the day, he is not a supreme running back. So if you're wondering for fantasy purposes how I feel about Isaiah Pacheco, just not my cup of tea. Patrick Mahomes looked good, though, which is nice. Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk about the Eagles just for a second for our Eagles fans and our Cowboys fans, right? The Eagles played fine. They played fine. We sat there and knew that they had the most talent on the field. They had the most depth. They had the most everything. They came out. They looked a little emotional, right? Stadium was going crazy. Super Bowl defense. And they just looked emotional to me. They just, I understand the whole Dak and Jalen Carter thing. I get it. You can't let your emotions get and overwhelm you in that moment. Jalen Carter. I do understand that Dak Prescott did start the incident first. Philly played fine. They have the better athletes. Dallas played good. I mean, Dallas was a couple catches away from stealing that game in Philly, from a riot in Philly. Dak Prescott played good. CeeDee Lamb needed to make a few more catches. Dallas played good. And this is what drives me crazy for the one person watching right now. This is what drives me crazy about Dallas is that everybody, it's not Dallas in general, it's just the media kind of. Everybody and their mother loves Kyle Shanahan because of Mike Shanahan and the coaching tree. Oh, we love Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan and the McVays and all these guys. Why didn't we love Brian Schottenheimer coming into the season? I loved Brian Schottenheimer. I thought he was a nice, quiet hire. Every time Dallas brings in this high-profile guy, the media is all over them. I like my coach and sometimes my quarterback to be a little bit quiet and a little bit reserved in a big-time environment. I liked Brian Schottenheimer. Marty Schottenheimer was an excellent coach for years and also coached in the same division as Mike Shanahan. You might remember Marty Schottenheimer as the longtime coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Derek Thomas led, beat the hell out of you, Kansas City Chiefs. They were great for a long time, super talented, led by Marty. Now you're getting a Dallas Cowboys team led by Brian Schottenheimer, and I thought he was going to have a nice debut. And as soon as Jalen Carter exited the game, before even a play took off, the first thing Schottenheimer did was start running the ball right at that Philly defense. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was a masterful coaching job. It's tough that he came up a little short, but you Cowboys fans can hang your hats. The biggest one that you have in your house, you can hang the biggest hat on the fact that Brian Schottenheimer can coach. That Dallas Cowboys team is not going to be underwhelmed in that area. And they're going to have a much better season than anyone built. The Mike McCarthy era is over. You're welcome. He can go back to Green Bay or whatever it is he does. There's an adult in the room, and his name is Brian Schottenheimer. Now, I'm excited about today because we have a full docket of games. I mean, the list is full, baby. 2025 has begun. Let's start with some picks. Miami versus Indianapolis. It's not the sexiest game. It's not. It's the guy who looks like I think it looks like he works at a Circle K, right? They're talking about McDaniels, right? He's just an odd fellow. He came in with moxie and swagger, and now it looks like he sells vape pens at the mall. He's an odd fellow, but it doesn't look like he has the swagger when he came in. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's not all about looks. It's sometimes how you carry yourself. That whole Miami team, Tyreek Hill wanted a trade. Now he didn't want to trade. He's in, then he's out. They asked Mike McDaniels what kind of running back he'll either get all the carries or he won't get any of the carries on Oliver Gordon. It's so non-committal in Miami, right? The first thing the Indianapolis Colts did is they held a quarterback competition. Richardson versus Jones. We're going to get this out of the way. I'm very sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings, but a decision will be made at this time. Decision was made. It's Daniel Jones. He was more consistent. He was more accurate. And I trust my job with him going into the season. That's what your Colts coach said. So you have Miami, completely inconsistent. Tyreek Hill, uncommitted. Tua Tagovailoa, fine quarterback. Mike McDaniels, the guy will either get all the carries or none of the carries. Non-committal. The Colts are dead set on a quarterback. They've got a fantastic running back in Jonathan Taylor. And I think they know who they are. By the way, Indy's at home. I will take the Colts this week. I'm not going to mess around with the spread. It's -1+1. There's a lot of -1+1s out there this week. They're there to mess with you. Don't think about the minus. Can they win by one? Or don't think about the -1+1. They're out there on purpose. It's a complete and total mistake. It's a complete and total misprice on 3 or 4 games. I'll take the Colts, and I do like this over. At 46.5, it feels like it should go under. But you're indoors. You know Miami's going to be fighting this whole game. It could end up 31 to 26 somehow, and Miami's driving late. They just can't get it done. I think Indy takes this game. That's my first check mark. Moving on. Listen, there's a lot of Tampa fans down here. A lot of Tampa fans. I'm a huge, if you know me, you know I am a huge Baker Mayfield guy, but I do have to send some respect to I love a lot of Atlanta fans too. Real passion in Atlanta, by the way. Real passion in Atlanta. They're great people. I have a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans. Yes, a lot of Falcons fans down here in Florida. That's okay. Well, they travel well, but they won't be traveling today because Atlanta is in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, probably top 3 stadiums from which I've heard in all of the NFL. Beautiful. They do it well in Atlanta. With that being said, a couple things different in Atlanta this year. Last year, you were starting the season with Kirk Cousins. You won't be doing that this year, right? You were starting the season with a quarterback that had been the leader of franchises. Now you're turning the page and the leaf over to Michael Penix. Michael Penix is a fine quarterback. He's a good talent. But to have that fan base behind you in your first start, it seems like it'd be helpful, right? It seems like that's what you want. You want all that pressure. You want all that force. You want everything behind you going against a Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. The thing that's tough with me here is that I think that Penix would probably be a little bit better if he was away from home in his first start. A little bit less expectations, not so much on the kid. I do understand that he had other starts. This isn't his first start, but it is his first home opener in the NFL. I think that matters a little bit. I think that's a lot of weight on the kid's shoulders. I think Atlanta performs well, as the 47 points suggests. Atlanta performs well, but I'll take Tampa Bay. And give me, and by the way, and it screams this at you. This is one of those I circled because it screams it. This is your +1, -1, just like the game before. But let me explain something. The +1, -1 Miami Indy, listen to me here, was both -110 on the money line. Money lines are just as telling as the regular spreads are. The Tampa Bay Atlanta. Tampa Bay is -120. Atlanta is +100. Tampa is actually a better favorite than the aforementioned Indianapolis Colts. Take Tampa on the money line. They should be a 3-point favorite in this game. The money line is screaming that. So we're going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Atlanta Falcons. And by the way, I love people that come on here sometimes like, well, you're just taking money lines. Yeah, I like money. I like when I wake up Monday morning, I took my $100 or $200 that I put aside for Sunday, and I put it on sure bets. And when I wake up Monday morning, I've got an extra $75 in my pocket. Maybe not $300, but I've got an extra $75 in my pocket before the week even starts. Doesn't that feel good? Oh, heavy $75, not light $150. Let's continue our picks. Carolina versus Jacksonville. Again, we went from talking about the Bucs and Baker Mayfield for a minute to the guys that Baker got hired. Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay just 2 seasons ago. Did a nice job. Moved on to Carolina. It's been tough sledding. Liam Cohen, offensive coordinator for Baker in Tampa last year. He moves over to Duval, Jacksonville, and he gets his chance at a head coaching job. Your line for this game is Jacksonville opened at 3.5, has just recently moved to 4, probably before kickoff. You'll be back to 3.5, and your over under is 46.5. Here's how I feel about this game. Look, Carolina has that T-Mac, Tetsutora McMillan. He's a rookie. It's just he's a very talented rookie, and he's going to have a monster season, and he'll probably have a nice game. I do believe he'll have a nice game. But Jacksonville's got Hunter. Jacksonville's got Brian Thomas Jr. They have Tank Bigsby. I know no one likes him. Travis Etienne. They have a nice committee back there. Brian Thomas Jr. is probably the most athletic and talented guy on the field. He might be. He probably is. I do believe that even though we don't love Trevor Lawrence, there is a world where Trevor Lawrence is exponentially better than Bryce Young, and it's this world. He's just better. Even if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play great, he's still better. He's more athletic. He's got a better arm. Bryce Young might be a little bit smarter. I'm never going to sit here and stomp for Trevor Lawrence's brains, his acumen. He's not a smart guy, but he's a tremendous athlete. I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars on. I'm being very careful, being very cautious. It's gone from 3.5 to 4. I'm going to take Jacksonville on the money line. I think this lands within 2 points. That's my feeling here. My feeling is Jacksonville wins by 2 somehow. They love playing close ones. But the other thing that Liam Cohen's going to do, and he did it with Baker a lot last year, I just want to overstate what he does, is he gets a quarterback in rhythm. He will grab Lawrence. He's a big man. Liam Cohen's no slouch. He will grab Lawrence if he's out of rhythm. And he will not let him go sit on the bench. That's not going to happen. No, not at all. What he's going to do is he's going to grab him. He will get Trevor in rhythm. He'll figure out what he likes. He'll figure out what he don't like, but he's not just going to let him go sit on the bench if he's not playing and figuring it out. I do like Trevor Lawrence here. Moving on to the state of Ohio, because that's what it is, right? It's the Battle of Ohio. Cincinnati versus Cleveland. Cleveland is getting 5 points. I don't really know what to think about this game. I just, I think despite Joe Flacco's whole career and his legacy of consistency, That's what Joe Flacco's been. His legacy of consistency, and I think he's going to play well. And I think if you guys want to bet on Jerry Jeudy receiving yards, and I would stick with receptions because I think he's going to catch a lot of passes. I would stick with Jerry Jeudy. Let's see where Jerry Jeudy is right now as far as the receptions go. We're going to go on our Hard Rock because that's how I am. I'm hanging out with you guys early on a Sunday because you guys matter to me. We're signing into Hard Rock, and I just want to, we're just going to take a look at this. Player props as we speak. By the way, this line is moving down. It was 5. It's at 4.5. Let's look at those player props live with you. Receiving, Jerry Jeudy. Over 63.5 yards, it's minus 115. But receptions, they don't even think he's going to catch a lot of passes. Under 5.5 receptions, minus 155. That is interesting. But also interesting is we find out that the feature man in Cleveland is going to be David Njoku today. It's going to be a David Njoku day. Over 4.5 receptions is minus 175. That's as good of a lock as you could find on any receiver today. If you are a gambler like I am and you like to bet, you think this is going to be high scoring. By the way, it sits at 48 points. It's one of the highest scoring games of the day. Take David Njoku right now. Minus 175 at over 4.5 receptions. It will come in. It's basically a lock. Minus 175. I'm writing it down right now. Njoku. And that is 4.5 receptions. We're taking that bet. You got to take the locks. You got to take the easy ones. This will be a passing game. Njoku will probably catch 6 passes. You might sweat for a minute, but at the end of the first quarter, he could have 3, and you're feeling great about it if he's got 3, right? You're feeling great about it. All right, let's get back to the spread. It's went from 5.5. Now it's moved down to 4.5, right? So it's moved down a full point. They think this game is going to be a little bit tighter. This is one of those where, Cleveland's going to make it difficult. They are at home. This isn't the same Cincinnati team, though. Remember the Cincinnati team that, they come out and they just kind of trot along and they barely win week 1, or what they've been doing is losing to Pittsburgh week 1 because Pittsburgh comes out and absolutely smashes you. Like Tomlin doesn't care. Cincinnati has been practicing and playing in the preseason. And I think this is another game within the state, right? So Carolina and Jacksonville, not within the state, but it's kind of along the same highway. I think Cincinnati wins, but I want you guys to be very careful with this line because it keeps moving down. If by any chance you want to steal some juice, and that's what I call it, stealing some juice, I still think Cincinnati's going to win this game. I think they win by 3. If you want to steal some juice on that money line, you can find it -2, Cincy. It's something I do all the time. If you like a team on the money line, right? Listen to me. If you like a team on the money line, just go out there and look at alternate lines, and take them -1. If you think they're going to win by 3, take the -1. You'll get a couple extra points, and it'll earn you an extra $5 to $7, depending on how they have the spreads set up. If you do that with 4 games, 7 times 4 is what, ladies and gentlemen? You making more money. Let's move on to the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders are at home. It's 45.5. The Giants have packages apparently set up for darts. I thought it was going to be Russell Wilson only. If you have packages set up for your backup quarterback, to me, it's screaming that you don't know who you exactly are, right? You drafted this guy. You really want him. He's not completely ready. This is what happened with Brian Daboll in Buffalo, by the way. Everybody thinks Josh Allen just started. Starting quarterback Josh Allen never happened. It absolutely never happened. He had packages set up for him. And he got in a little bit, and then he got in a little bit. And by week 3 or week 4, he was the starting quarterback. And you could see the same progression possibly happen with Jackson Dart. Now, those games that he got in, they didn't look great, Buffalo. Okay. But he eventually overcame and gained the starting job. And as the season went on, Buffalo started to look good and have more confidence. So that's where the Giants are headed. But they are not headed there today. Washington Commanders win. I actually like, that's the spread I like. I actually like the Commanders to smash the Giants. I just don't think the Giants are going to have enough to keep up with Washington. I think Washington can actually win by 10. We're gonna find out how good of a command Daniels has, but I do believe that the Giants are just not going to have enough to keep up. I look at that game as an over too. It says 45.5. I think you can see it 30-20. 30-20 is what I have that game pegged at. That'll be my first spread that I don't mind sticking my neck out on. I just don't think the Giants have enough to keep up, to be quite honest. That defense is great. We'll see what that offense looks like. Moving on to Pittsburgh and the Jets. We just talked about Pittsburgh Tomlin. By the way, Mike Tomlin has a team prepared. Aaron Glenn was a great coach in Detroit when he didn't have all the responsibilities. And he was a nice player once upon a time. But he's got all the responsibilities now. He's new. He's got Justin Fields, a quarterback that people just want to keep giving chances to. Oh, give him a chance. Get him out of Chicago. Oh, if you just let him start the whole season, he'd be great in Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you something about Justin Fields is a one-read quarterback. For all the Justin Fields believers, he is a one-read quarterback. After the first read, he either runs, gets sacked, or can't figure it out. He's one read. He was one read at Ohio State. He drove them absolutely insane in Chicago. It wasn't the Bears. It was Justin Fields. And for all the Bears people that they still want him, Caleb Williams' worst year at USC, passing yards wise. And by the way, you need to pass the ball before you can get into the end zone. You need to gain the yards. You need to be able to march a team down the field. Caleb Williams' worst year at USC. Please look up the stats. His worst year at USC, yards-wise, passing, was better than Justin Fields' best year at Ohio State. Please look it up. Justin Fields is not a quarterback, and the Jets didn't pay him like one either. The Jets paid Justin Fields like a running back. Stick his contract right next to Saquon Barkley's. It looks the same. 2 years, $40 million. They paid him like a running back. So, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be chasing a running back all day. That won't be difficult. Garrett Wilson will rip the rest of his hair out of his head. And the Jets are only going to be able to run the ball as long as Pittsburgh isn't up by 10 points. And I believe that Aaron Rodgers has a little bit more juice left in that arm. He knows as soon as they take a 10-point lead, the Jets cannot catch them. I mean, if you're a Hall of Fame quarterback with a little bit left and you have all of that information, that's easy money. I know the Jets are at home, but let's not pretend like they're even close to the same team. I think Pittsburgh covers. They're favored by 2.5. They probably should be one of those teams today that should be favored by 5. The public just does not, they're not sure about Aaron Rodgers. And it doesn't really matter because he's not driving this team. Mike Tomlin is. Take the Steelers minus 2.5 to walk into New York and absolutely obliterate this Jets team who will be looking for their parents after they get crushed by Pittsburgh. 37.5. I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play the over-under. I don't think it matters. Take the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 2.5. They probably win by 7. I'm saying 5. That's how we're doing this right now. Moving on, Arizona is minus 6 as they travel into the Big Easy in New Orleans. Look, I'm a big believer of this bet. Okay, the bet's like this. If New Orleans, and they are, New Orleans is favored by 6. They got Spencer Rattler. They got a brand new coach. They have, we don't know what Alvin Kamara is going to look like. Will Rattler and Olave mix? I don't know. But I do know this. I do know that Arizona wasn't watched a lot last year. We think about Arizona as this team in the desert. They just sit over there and, they play patty cake with the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. And if they have a 8-8 season, that's what we think they are. A new coach gave them an identity last year. It was James Conner smashing the ball. It was Kyler Murray able to run on bootlegs after Conner crushed linebackers. Conner's a big dude, 6 foot, all 220. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is a fine receiver. Is he what his father is? I don't believe so, but he's serviceable. We know what Arizona is. New Orleans is this huge question mark. Huge question mark. No Derek Carr, right? And I'm not saying he was the greatest quarterback, but he was a nice mainstay. You knew what you were getting. I don't know what Spencer Rattler is. I think he's a fine kid. Will he make mistakes? Probably. Will they find their identity when they need it? Probably not. This line is screaming to take Arizona. So I will. But I'll take them on the money line. I will take Arizona on the money line only because I don't have information on the other team. I really don't know what New Orleans is. New Orleans is a great town to go have a nice meal in. To me, right? Big easy like Sunday morning. But you're playing the Arizona Cardinals, and I believe that the oldest NFL franchise, there's some trivia for you, baby. The oldest NFL franchise, I believe, has enough to get it done today. Arizona Cardinals on the money line. I'm very sorry I'm just taking money lines, but I'm not. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning with more money, and I don't have all the information, so I like to pump the brakes. Settle down into Sunday. It's only the first week. Once we know more about these teams, we'll be okay, right? I don't like to gas the car and then slam on the brakes. If I see a yellow light, I start slowing down. It just makes more sense while you're in traffic, right? Slow it down. All right. Las Vegas and New England. This game, to me, is real interesting. It really is. I think Las Vegas is I think they're coached greatly. Okay, I think Pete Carroll, Hall of Famer. He's done a tremendous job in Seattle, and I think he's going to be a great motivator for that Vegas team. I think Crosby's good. I think Genty was a nice draft pick. I think bringing Geno Smith over to steady the quarterback spot. I like all those things. But I don't love this spot. I don't love the spot because walking into New England, having to deal with Drake May, having to deal with Vrabel's first coaching appearance, to me, -2.5. If New England was walking into Vegas, I think I'd go with Vegas. This is certainly a coin flip. I think it probably turns into New England winning by 1 on a late second field goal because Vegas puts up the fight of a lifetime. But it just, to me, I'll take Vrabel in this spot with a young New England team, with a Stephon Diggs with a chip on his shoulder, going out there and proving once again that he is a quarterback maker. Remember, Josh Allen got good. He didn't come into the league ready, which is why he wasn't drafted number 1. Stephon Diggs gave him a shoulder, and he was able to get confidence through Diggs. Drake May is going to get the same confidence through Diggs. I do like Diggs' receptions today. Let's see what they sit at while we're live on our Hard Rock bet. By the way, I'm not getting any money from Hard Rock. It's just what I use. So let's sift down here. Let's see if they like anything player props wise with Stephon Diggs. Let's have a chat here. All right, so they like him under 48.5 yards. That's where the favorite's at. But over 48.5 yards is plus 100. We're just taking an honest look here. Over 4.5 receptions. I love that. I think Stephon Diggs could easily give you 47 yards or maybe 50 yards, maybe gains a few more yards, but I think you're going to get over that 4.5 receptions mark. That'll be just fine. I'm not saying I'm going to take that. strong like the Njoku, but I will sit and let that bet marinate. I'll take New England. I think they get it done at home. I think a few whistles come their way, and it won't just be from the fans that have had too much to drink already up there in Boston. Moving on to our other slate of games. We've got San Francisco against Seattle. We talked about consistency, right? We started the show with consistency, right? We started saying Indy looks more and feels more consistent than Miami. It's just some teams look and have and will walk into the season with proper identity. They know right at you, right? They're prepared for the moment and they're ready to take it. San Francisco, to me, feels like we just love yesteryear. Oh, but it's Kyle Shanahan. He'll figure it out. And, well, they still got Kittle. And McCaffrey, he's coming back off the energy, but he's going to be okay. And Jennings, he'll be fine. And we just keep patty caking and making excuses and going, oh, well, Kyle will figure it out. Are you sure? Seattle had in the league last year, and I know the division wasn't some monster, but Seattle had the most takeaways in the league, tied with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos get all the credit because that's where Sean Payton is, and nobody expects him to be anything, and he's a little bit loud about his team when he likes them. But quietly, Seattle has put together a nice defense. By the way, their head coach, Old McDonald, was once upon a time the defensive coordinator in Baltimore. Baltimore knows defenses, and Harbaugh knows coaching. So, Seattle went out, and they knew they were going to lose Geno Smith, or at least they had information. So they went out and got Sam Darnold, because we sat there the whole time. We went, why would they go get Sam Darnold? I think they wanted to solidify the team. I think they knew Geno was leaving. There was murmurings in the building that Pete Carroll wanted him. They were not going to pay up. So they didn't. It's just that simple. They didn't pay up. They let Geno walk. They picked up Sam Darnold. Okay, fine. They went out and they grabbed a Cooper Kupp. Nice intermediate route runner. Maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba can finish what he started last year and have another nice year. If Kenneth Walker Jr. or Kenneth Walker III can stay healthy and Charbonnet can add as a nice compliment, I believe that Seattle at this stage in the season is more prepared. I just do. I think there's been so much noise in San Francisco over the past month. I think they'll try their best. I think Brock Purdy will manage the game at a high level. But in this spot, I'm a Seattle guy. And I'm not, I'm not this big Sam Darnold lover. But I will tell you that Sam Darnold always comes out of the season, of the gates, and plays awesome throughout his career. When he's even as a Jets, you guys don't know, he'll start off and he'll win the first two games, or he'll win the first game. Sam Darnold wins week one. When he was in Carolina the year before Baker came and stole his job, Sam Darnold started the season 3-0. Bet you didn't know that. He's not a darling, right? People don't love him, but he does start seasons strong. So last year in Minnesota, the shock should have came from week 5 to week 8, right? He should have started to slide, but he didn't. Slid off towards the end, that's fine. But him coming out of the gate strong should have surprised no one. And it didn't surprise that coaching staff in Minnesota. It didn't surprise Kevin O'Connell at all. And it won't surprise me today taking Seattle on the money line, because currently they are the most consistent team. They are at home. I do believe if you're looking for a little juice to put together with our next game, Seattle surprise. I think that's what the headlines could read in the morning. Seattle surprise. I could see it in the papers already. Moving on to Tennessee and Denver, which will be no surprise. It is my bet your house. It is my bet your house pick of the week. It's where I take all my money and I guarantee you a victory. Right? There's question marks about all these games. These -1s, these Njokus, these -5. Will they cover? There is no question here. Tennessee has drawn the worst matchup of the week. If you guys are in survivor leagues, please take your easy victories early. What happens with these leagues is you try to get cute. You go, oh, well, I think, and maybe, and this could, and you do all that stuff. You haven't gotten to week 7 when there could be different teams on the field. Take the layups and see who's left standing at the end. That's what I talk about with these survivor leagues all the time. Denver's -8 in Denver with a rookie quarterback coming in with a bad offensive line and no number 1 wide receiver. What does Tennessee have? And Calvin Ridley. What? He's 6 foot and hasn't performed in 3 years. They paid him a lot of money because they couldn't get anybody else to come to Tennessee. That's what Calvin Ridley is. Pollard, fine. I'll give you that. 25 rushes, 83 yards, maybe 13 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. Maybe that's what you get because that's all you have. Denver's going to smash Tennessee. It's a homecoming. Everybody and their mother remembers Bill Parcells. And when they remember Bill Parcells, they remember Bill Belichick, right? It's a ESPN 30 for 30, the two Bills. But you remember those two. But you don't remember that Sean Payton was also on that coaching staff with Parcells. Yeah, a little bit younger, but not that much younger. But he was on the coaching staff on the offensive side. You better remember that Sean Payton is coming to smash your face in. He's built a team from the ground up. So just in case you think what happened in New Orleans was a mistake or he got lucky or he had Drew Brees, he's heard those stories. Now who did he have? He inherited Russell Wilson and a bunch of misfit toys. He has reshaped, remolded, and rescheduled the Denver Broncos. They are on pace to go to another playoffs this year. I believe, it is my prediction, you put the timestamp here, the Denver Broncos will win the AFC West this year. I know the Chargers looked good. I know that Kansas City and Mahomes will always be there. I believe that Bo Nix is going to take over this year. I have drafted him in every single fantasy league I had the ability to. He's my number 1 guy. I think they're going to crush Tennessee today. You could take the -8. You could take them on the money line and put them together with something else. But please, dear, take them. Please take the Denver Broncos. They're my bet your house. You could put $100 on them. You could put $200 on them. The Denver Broncos will not lose today. Sean Payton and Denver is going to smash Tennessee. And they're also going to win the AFC West. So just in case you look for long-term prop bets, that's where you want to be. Denver. Don't question it. Moving on. Detroit and Green Bay. Look, there's been a lot of talk this week about the Micah Parsons and how good Green Bay is going to be, and they've always been right next to Detroit and Detroit this and Detroit that. Look, Green Bay is favored in this game at home in Lambeau Field. I don't really have a feel on this one. 47.5 feels a little light to me. I don't think any of their defenses are good enough. Okay? Even if Parsons plays, they'll have packages to take care of him. Detroit's defense last year, bad. They ranked 26th in the league. But they lost Aiden Hutchinson. I don't care about Aiden Hutchinson. He's fine. He's a fine player. He's not Garrett. He's not Watt. He's not Crosby. He's fine. He's not there yet, and he's coming off an injury. I don't care about him. Okay. Detroit and Green Bay, they're basically calling this an even game. -1.5, Green Bay. To me, I'll take Detroit. And I know that we should love Green Bay in this spot, but I still think Detroit is just a little too talented at this point in time. It's not a great spot for Green Bay. I think Detroit comes in. They just have a few better athletes on the offensive side than Green Bay does on the defensive side. Green Bay might get there. There could be a connection. Love is golden. I believe I could see it in the headlines. I could see it in the newspaper. But Golden is not there yet. He's a rookie. We're still trying to figure out this wide receiver core. And I don't think Green Bay at this moment is much different than they were last year when they couldn't get over Detroit. Oh, I understand that Detroit has lost 2 head coaches in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. But the players play the games, and Jared Goff's an adult now, and I do believe that he'll be just good enough to get past this Green Bay defense, which is not going to be 100% today. Let me have a sip of Joe, and we'll get to our next game in just a moment. Oh, that felt good. You gotta relubricate sometime. 41 minutes in, that's not too bad. I hope you guys are clicking those buttons and subscribing. Right? I'm giving you guys free picks that will come in. I'm 68% last year. All you gotta do is subscribe and you'll get free picks every single Sunday. And they're honest picks. Right? They're not they're not from these other networks that talk about the teams from last year. I'm talking about what the teams look like this year. I am a predictor, not a repeater of what happened. Oh, well, you know what those other teams looked like. I'm not that guy. I'm predicting what's going to happen this year, and we'll gain new information after this week and go forward with it, moving on to Houston and the Rams. Look, it's a 3-point spread. I don't think it's moved. I don't think anybody has a feel on this game whatsoever. That's the odd part, right? I think Matt Stafford's going to play. I don't know how great he's going to play. I don't love the Rams right now. I actually think this will be my upset pick. I think Houston is all the things that I was talking about those other teams. I think they're more consistent. I think they've had their quarterback there the whole preseason. They're determined. And you have to win and come out of the gates with games like this, right? You have to walk into an LA and get some games. So I know that Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams, and I can name them all. But will Matt Stafford get hit once from that Houston defense and they swing? Let's not pretend like Houston's just a bunch of soft guys. They'll come in there and club you. I watched them. People knocked Caleb Williams. We'll talk about him in a couple minutes. They knocked him last year. I'll tell you what, his perspective of the NFL got changed on a Sunday night when he played against Houston. The Bears played the Houston Texans, and they clubbed that kid. It was no contest. They absolutely beat the hell out of him on the football field. And it changed his perspective. He thought it was going to be easy. He thought it was going to be like college. And Houston did something to him he's never seen, lost his confidence for a couple weeks, and it took him a minute to come back from that drubbing. Now, Matt Stafford is not healthy. And you can't convince me that a 40-year-old with a couple back issues is going to play the whole game. This is 43.5. If you thought Matt Stafford was going to play or was healthy, the line should be near 47. He's not. I think you will see some Garoppolo. It's just my gut. It might not happen. I haven't had breakfast yet. But I think I'm going to take Houston here and CJ Stroud and consistency and D'Amico Ryans and that defense. I know it's in LA. I just believe that Stafford's more banged up than your truthful, lying Sean McVay has told us it's his right to tell the truth and lie at the same time. Moving on to Baltimore and Buffalo. Oh, boy. Before this game started, right? It hasn't started yet, but before the lines came out, Buffalo was favored in every single game this year, and now the bettors have come in on the Baltimore Ravens. It's my belief here that the home team will win. whichever the home team would be. If the home team was Baltimore, Baltimore would win. If the home team was Buffalo, Buffalo would win. I like the over here. It's 50.5. I do believe we get Sunday night fireworks. I think this lands around 53, and we get a late game field goal or 28-23, something in those, maybe 33-30, and it's tight late. I don't know. I think we get points here. Defenses are always behind the offenses, especially when the offenses are this strong. Lamar Jackson returns. Zay Flowers returns. Mark Andrews returns healthy. Big deal. I think you see touchdowns from Derrick Henry. I think you see one from James Cook. Obviously, Josh Allen will be performing under the lights in Buffalo in the game opener. Give me the Bills. I want you to be careful with that Houston and LA game. That's one that could trip you up. And the other one that could trip you up is that Seattle-San Francisco game. That's what we're looking at here. And let's get to our late or Monday game, because I'll talk about it just in case we don't have time to talk about it on Monday. Schedules change, life change, it gets fast, and sometimes we can't get caught up. We're here with you now, so we'll give it to you, and we'll piece you out short if we need to. Minnesota and Chicago. I don't get it. There, I said it. I don't get it. Both of these teams are brand new in the same areas, right? So Minnesota, same defense, fine, should be fantastical, right? But on Brian Flores, bringing the house. That's what he does. But on offense, you got J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell. Kevin McConnell and J.J. McCarthy, it's a new dynamic when you get in a game. I know Justin Jefferson's there. I get it. Jordan Addison won't be. But you have Hawkinson, you have all these other athletes around him. But he's in a game now. It's his first real NFL game. It's his first real football game. Real. Not preseason, not vanilla defenses. First real football game in over a year. I know he's had game time action in preseason. He will be seeing exotic defenses against Chicago. They will want to throw everything at the kid. I think McCarthy plays well. I think he picks up the game late. That making any sense to you guys, right? I think that he'll play well, but he'll start picking up the nuances and what this team is doing and the doubling of Jefferson and where I have to move it over here for. I think that happens late. And in my opinion, it's going to happen too late. Let's not pretend like Caleb Williams didn't play a whole season last year and saw NFL players all year. I talked about how Houston introduced him to the NFL. Yeah, that happened. I talked about how he had his confidence shaken and then regained it late. Still lost tight games, but caught it. J.J. McCarthy hasn't gone through any of those things. And on the opposite side, Caleb Williams gets a new coach. Right? So Kevin O'Connell gets a new quarterback. Caleb Williams gets a new coach. That's the lens of this. That's what we need to be looking at, right? New coach, new quarterback. New quarterback, new coach. That's the story of Minnesota and Chicago. That's the lens we need to be looking at this through. But I believe one side is stronger than the other. I want the player who's gone through the tribulations and the trials through a whole entire year, rather than the coach who will be trying to make sure that his player stays consistent and sees everything, but hasn't seen it yet. If you guys are still following me, I want J.J. McCarthy to look good. The growing pains will have to be there, though. You have to go through them, right? Mistakes will be made. Growing pains have to happen for you to get stronger. We've all been through them in life. I believe that Chicago, even though it's mispriced at +1, you say whatever you want. Give me the Bears at home to beat the Vikings. I'm not a Vikings hater. Everybody thinks I'm a Vikings hater. I'm not a Vikings hater. I like their colors. I think Skull's fun. JJ McCarthy will be fun. I just believe that in the instance of new coach, quarterback that's been there, an old coach, quarterback that's getting his first real NFL start. I would much rather the player that has had more experience getting the new coach. And in this case, not in many cases, Caleb Williams has had more experience than McCarthy. And let's not pretend like he doesn't have athletes either. DeAndre Swift was with Ben Johnson in Detroit. He knows him well. DJ Moore, great athlete. Tremendous athlete. He can fly with the best of them. Rome Odunze, not a bad rookie season last year. They drafted Luther Burden. They think that he could be an X factor. I think Chicago has plenty of athletes to go around, while Minnesota doesn't have Jordan Addison. I understand that they have Aaron Jones and they just signed Jordan Mason in this offseason, but they're new to working with each other, right? Jordan Mason hasn't been there yet. We don't know who McCarthy's 2 is going to be. That's another big question mark, isn't it, on Monday night? Who's going to be your number 2 wide receiver? You got him? Yeah, Jordan Addison, who's not playing. Suspended. Idiot. So now I don't have my number 2 guy because you're an idiot. That's fantastic. And that's not my, I don't think Jordan Addison's an idiot all the time. I think if you get suspended from your job for doing things outside of your job, I think you're an idiot. It's a fair example, right? It's a fair representation. You do stupid things outside of work that gets you suspended at your job. It makes you an idiot. I think we can all agree there. We'll take Chicago over Minnesota. They're at home field juice, more experienced quarterback, more athletes. Minnesota's got a good team, but right now they don't have more athletes. I'll take Chicago on the money line. Guys, at 11:23, we gave you 52 minutes of information here on Fantasy Farm Sports. I went 52 minutes and counting on my own on this Sunday for you guys. The most and the best people on the planet, my greatest friends. Please subscribe to my channel. I love you guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Football is back, baby.